do the intro as usual, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Perry. He and I were members. He's still an active member, right? Still active member?
Yes.
Yeah, of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. So his title in the church was Walimu, which means teacher, correct? Right. So when I say Walimu, I'm referring to him as, Mr. Perry Walimu. So just FYI on that. When you hear me saying it, that's what I'm talking about. All right. So we are live on Facebook. Let me go back to my screen share. Where you at, Facebook? There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so thank you guys again for being here. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm going to read briefly Mr. Perry's bio, because God knows there's a lot, and then I'll turn it over to him. Willie J. Perry, Walimu Onyemachi, your last name?
Perry.
No, the African last name.
Akin
Shagun served 6 years in the U.S. Marines, serving in the Marine Detachment aboard the USS Long Beach. Around the world, cruise called Operation Sea Orbit. He attended undergraduate school at Alabama State University and obtained a BS degree in Business Administration and Economics. He then moved to Houston, Texas, where he served as regional manager for Western Auto Supply Company. Later, he became an international buyer for Foley's department stores and a retail sales manager for NCS, National Convenience Stores. Later, the Houston Post newspaper company hired Walimu, and because of his program development skills, he created a national collection department for the company. Through a fellowship from the University of California at Berkeley in conjunction with the University of Houston at Clear Lake, he earned his MBA in graduate school. He became one of the architects of the Employee Assistance Program and later the Employee Stock Option Program. Walimu Onyemachi went on to serve as a representative of the International Business Association. Later, he became a certified financial planner and business consultant through First City Bank. He further developed the entrepreneurial desire by joining the Domino's pizza chain as a franchisee. He has worked for the U.S. Treasury as a revenue officer for 34 years. He is currently serving as CEO of Ouidah International, Inc., a professional business and tax service for 19 years. Currently serving on the Harris County Appraisal Review Board for 6 years. And after that, it's a bunch of bullet points. I ain't reading them. I've known the brother for 30 plus years. Absolutely phenomenal, awesome, knows what he's talking about. He's most certainly a treasure and a pillar in the community. So we want to make sure, as always, with what we do with Thursday Morning Breakfast and the Growth for Care Alliance, we have people who are doing the work. We got people with the expertise and with the understanding. I always say that everything we need as a community, we already have, but we don't know it because we don't talk to each other. We're not organized and we're not connected. This is one of those entities that we absolutely must be connected to, not just as an individual, but what he brings to the table per his business expertise and his community, his love for the community and community leadership. So on that note, I'm gonna turn it over to Walimu Onyemachi, and he's going to do his thing. So y'all give him a round of applause, please. A little round, thank you. And then we go from there.
All right. Thank you very much for my esteemed host. My name is Danny. I've known him for quite a few years. Thank you very much for inviting me to us this morning. I like this setting because it gives you an opportunity not to talk at you, but to talk to you. So I was asked to do a little expose this morning on credit unions, and also I added one to would be investment club. I think how those institutions can serve the community. Opening a credit union and an investment club involve distinct yet potentially complementary processes. Opening a credit union requires significant capital, regulatory approval, and it focuses on financial services. An investment club, on the other hand, focuses on personal investments, funds, and can be started with a little less resources. Let's get some major points about the credit union. First of all, in order to get one off the ground, you're gonna have your market analysis done. You gotta go through a group of people in the community who's interested in starting an investment club. See what a credit union. They have a business plan. I think the business plan, in my opinion, is overrated. I'm more reliable on the executive summary more than anything else. Am I going too fast, anyone? Okay, thank you.
If you can speak up just a little bit louder.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, start capital for a credit union now is enormous. The National Credit Union Association says we have to have at least $500,000 in capital in order to get it off the ground. Okay. Legal regulatory compliance, it has to, compliance, it's gonna need a charter. The chartering process is quite lengthy for the most part. That's important to know. The company, the establishment of the operations, the location, the setting, the people, folks who ask to become a part of it. It should be a church business, or it could become actually an employer, excuse me for that. Pause there. Technology, on the one hand, is very important to a credit union as well. And let's move on to the investment club at this point. The investment club can be very, very simple to operate. It needs a host of people, i.e., my suggestion would be 15 max in your club to get it off the ground. We have on the same wavelength, same idea in terms of moving forward, to pool those funds and create leveragable in the marketplace. Structures like, which the most common structures are known as a partnership. There are two types of partnerships now, limited partnership and also a general partnership. How many here have heard about the Bearstown ladies?
I have heard of them.
Heard of them?
Yeah.
They were quite popular back in the late 90s, 80s and 90s through 2000 because they had one of the most rewarding investment clubs there in Minnesota that you actually have only. So that's important. The community-based investment clubs actually offer a little more variety in terms of more control than the actual credit union itself, which requires less capital. The investment club, as the credit union has to have a investment philosophy going forward, that's important. That they do it at the same time. It has to be managed well, has to be accounting, has to be regulatory authority, but actually there at the same time, and going forward. The credit union has what's called regulatory oversight. That's important as well. With those kind of guidelines and also those regulations. The investment club, on the other hand, is kind of unique because it involves individuals just like yourselves and everything coming together to form a unit, borrowing the vision of a person who gets it off the ground, where people have a like-minded vision at the same time going forward. Make sure it can become very profitable. Very productive. Investment club has a focus, and that's on retaining profit for its membership at the same time. Any questions so far? Okay, let me go a little more into the investment club at this point. There's a required structure that I recommend in investment club, which when we first got ours off the ground back in maybe 2001. This is the structure here. You might want to write this down. You have an executive partner, along with an attorney, a treasurer, an accountant, a secretary, an historian, and a social coordinator, and a parliamentarian. Those are the key functions of an investment club. Make it function within itself and become more profitable moving forward. Are there any questions for what I've discussed so far? That's my presentation.
How do you sort of set it up with, as far as tax purposes?
All right, now, as I said earlier, now, the investment club has an options how it wants to become structured for tax purposes. I'm sorry. You have an option. Most investment clubs are general partnerships. Okay. That's a good entity to get off the ground for tax purposes and everything, where everyone shares in the profits and also the loss individually. So that's say 50%. Okay, but you can become more diversified than that. But for the most part, off the ground tax purposes will be general partnership. General partnership does not have to be registered with the Secretary of State. It can be done with an accounting, which you actually operate. Now I don't want to muddy the water with more technical accounting jargon because it causes more confusion. But the investment club also choose now that each partner is recognized to what they call a K1. The K1 is reporting document that the investment club uses, okay, to share its property and its losses with its respective members. And that K1 is followed through the Form 1040 on Schedule E as an echo. I don't want to get too more technical than that because it's a little messy for the most part. Now, the investment clubs don't really require a lot of capital to get off the ground. Our initial capital when we got our club started with $25 per month. Everyone felt, how come you guys have a net worth over $50,000 in less than 5 years, $25 a month? We have what we call the church used called drives. Drives basically means we put forth an effort to try to raise so much money by a certain timeline. We pledge that money. The money could have been $500, it could have been $1,000. We all made a pledge. And we went on that drive sometime between 3 to 6 weeks, sometime 4 to 6 weeks, okay? At the end of the drive, the money was actually there, okay? And that's how we were able to get the $50,000, that's the 5 years. Of those 15 members in that club, as I call, most people never had any more than a nickel and a nail in their pocket when they first joined the club, not knowing what they could envision going forward. So we're attained that goal in less than 5 years of $50,000 net worth for the most part. I recall when we got our first loan from the bank to buy additional with holders and everything. We had to educate the bank how the clubs work and function in order to get a loan. The club is going through an acquisition stage and everything, it has no profit, because it's buying everything, okay? When the sales stop, that's when you see a profit for the most part. You realize the value of it. So we got our first loan through Unity National Bank over here in 3rd Ward by $5,000, which we bought additional holders for the club itself. That's what we did. The club had more ambition, at least the vision of the club, not just become a club, but become an international concern ongoing. It had the vision of starting its own corporation, which they own controlling interest in, to expand out to do other things at the same time. So that's what we did. We formed Ouidah Investment Club. It spun off to Ouidah Investments Incorporation. Okay. Now, goal there to try to buy one of the major restaurant franchises, i.e. IHOPs, and also the Denny's franchise as well. In that particular time, we had our sites on the IHOP franchise. I can cite 3 different locations where we did our site plan and everything that you guys should be familiar with at this time. We met with IHOP in Dallas, Texas for a weekend. We went in at the time, we were looking good, all in uniform and everything. That's how we landed the franchise. We employed Dr. James Fuller, came out to go to franchise contract with us one night. That's when we knew then we were actually in. We used to land that thing. I can go on about the investment club. We did so many things I thought were really great. From a loan program we did within the club itself, with people who had ongoing businesses at the same time needed additional cash. We did extend the loan program outside limitedly for a short period of time as well. It gets on the ground. But there are a lot of things you really can do with that. Okay. Again, profit was our ultimate motive and going forward. That was very important.
I have a question. I have several questions, but I'll start with this one. Since we're on the investment club, tell us how much capital you guys started with, and either now or at your highest point of operation, what had that capital grown to, and what were you guys able to do from where you started to where you grew to? Because I want people to have an understanding that I think when most people think of investment clubs, they think small, but they don't understand, how this thing can grow to become a financial
Concern.
Yeah, right. So if you can give us a vision of where you guys started as far as capital, and then where you guys are now, or where you eventually ended up.
All right. We initially started out, my estimation based on my experience now, it take about 6 months to really form a good club. Mainly because you want the core there of consistent people coming out each and every time you meet to form your core. The first meeting we had about 35 people there. Okay. The second meeting we had 15 people there. We ended up with about 13, and we added 2 more down the road. The key thing, we started out with the initial investment of $25 per month. We put $25 a month each and every month now for at least 6 months to a year. we realized in order to expand this thing, we needed more cash to get more stuff done. So we had a drive. A drive, as I said earlier, we pledged so much money to the club, $500, $1,000, whatever. We have a timeline in order to complete the drive. We completed every drive on time with consistency. And we came up with the first $3,000 in less than a year. At that time, we needed more capital. We wanted more capital to expand even further. So we put the Post Unity National Bank get along with them. Okay. A non-collateralized loan, because at the time we had a portfolio that had about $10,000 in that time. And so within a 5-year period of time, we had a net worth in the club of $50,000. That's where we were.
Okay. And what can a club accomplish with that kind of capital?
Well, I can only speak with what we did.
Yeah.
We wanted to expand out to do something bigger and better. The club cannot do it itself because we felt it didn't have the title nor the command in the marketplace to get more capital coming to the front door. So we created a corporation to do more bigger stuff and everything. That's what we did. We created a corporation. Dr. James Fuller created a corporation for us, had it registered everything. We funded the corporation. We would 100% ownership in the corporation itself. We had a lot of offers down the road that people came to us. We had vending machine offers and everything. We had, as they said, we wanted an IHOP franchise or a Dennis franchise. Or to get that thing, you need to have more capital on board and have a net worth better than 100 grand. Okay, we were able to create that $50,000 leverage. Okay, with more additional capital comes to the front door with the franchise, and we can leverage that efficiency. We can leverage the corporation assets and everything to get other projects, large projects actually done.
So what are some of the strategic advantages of having an investment club?
One of the things that gives you leverage in the marketplace, and also it can serve the community at the same time. One of the things that I often thought about during the time when Black Lives Matter was really going strong at this point. In order for you to have a seat at the table, we're not seeking acknowledgement from white people for the most part. We want to make sure we can control what institutions in our community, and we can dictate to them certain things as well. So you become an activist investor, which means that you can buy 20% controlling interest in a corporation. You have a seat at the table. You can determine during this annual meeting what you want to have done at the same time. Those one of the big advantages there. The other advantage is, for the most part, stocks pay dividends and they appreciate in value. So when it pays dividends, what's the particular utility stocks for the most part, that's income coming back to you, to your pocket, to the community, each individual investor. The other thing, stock has an appreciation in value. When it appreciates now, you buy it at $50 and you sell it for $150, you got a capital gain there, but it's appreciated value. That's income that you coming to the front door. That's advantages.
Okay, can you give us, and I know you mentioned what's it called, Beardstown Ladies?
Beardstown Ladies.
Beardstown Ladies, because I remember reading their book.
Right.
And I remember reading about them when we started our investment club, I think in the late 90s when we were in the church. Can you give us an example? If they are it, then fine, but can you give us an example, maybe a few examples of some very powerful things some investment clubs have accomplished over the years of being an investment? Because I want people to have an understanding that this doesn't have to be a small thing.
That's correct.
It can be a very powerfully beneficial thing if you do it the right way. So can you give us a few examples of some accomplishments of some investment clubs that you've seen along the way?
Okay. Now, I can't speak for the Beardstown Ladies, but they were also known to beat the Fortune 500 at least 4 or 5 each and every quarter. Okay. What we did, okay, what brought us into light, we had a vision beyond where we were in terms of our nickel and the nail, like the better term. We wanted to do big and better things. We were able to fly to California for come with the $50,000 we didn't need down here for our franchise. We flew to California seeking out other investors at the same time. We flew out there as a small 15-member investment club, paid our way out there, met with investors out there at the same time to get money from them, buying to us. One of the hiccups we really had was the fact that we had two stocks that we offered, A and B. A has voting rights, B has no voting rights at all. So we're gonna offer these investors and everything, these stock on that stock because one, they can't vote and control the club at the same time. No one there, the club is gonna lose 49% within the club itself. So doing bigger things, investment clubs can do bigger things far beyond the actual club itself. The nucleus of the club itself owns other stuff. And in our case, we own the corporation that had even more stuff at the same time. That's what we did. And I thought it was very, very long for the most part.
Cool, okay, well, you had a question? Okay. Yes, ma'am, go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am.
Do you take people like myself and reinvest in your company?
Question?
Okay, all right, now, my wife and I sold our interest in that investment club in 2002, and we formed another corporation, which is a family business right now. The answer is with all the stock is controlled by the family at this point in time. We've issued no stock outside except for one investor. That's it. So the question is, can you buy interest in the company that we have at this point in time? We have to do a corporate meeting to discuss that. We only had one investor when we first got it started. We sold so much stock to this one investor that was it because he did something for us on the way going forward with the investment fund.
And so basically, when you have your meeting, you would discuss how much I would need to invest.
All right, when we have our family meeting now, we have to, let me try to explain this to you. Corporations actually, it's kind of like a public type thing. They do have meetings to discuss their operation. We normally don't have anyone in our meetings except the family and that one outside investor who helped us out when we had the investment club itself. That we saw like people that speed. So have someone come in now outside of the family, it won't be impossible. But we have to discuss it because it gets a close now. We only have Class A stock, and that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
So I think what I'm interested in, or I think what the young lady was saying also is how to start and get to the point where I want investment club, I want stock and that kind of thing. If we can't invest in what's already existing, what are some of the first steps to start our own?
Okay, the first thing, it's always the founder now. Somebody or a founder and their friends. They said I need to talk about what they want to do. They want to try to accomplish. How can I get ahead of this market right now? With 2 of us, 5 of us, so put it out there, do the networking and everything, put it out there, let people know you trying to start an investment club. And through your church, for example, or through your school, to work for the school, create an interest there. But speaking from experience now, it takes a while to put it together because the chemistry in the group has to be very close.
What's a while, Willie? What's a while? You said it takes a while.
6 months.
6 months.
I don't suggest putting one together less than 6 months because you need to have time to pick the chemistry from the core group. The core group will form in our case, it formed in 6 months. Those are people who bought into the vision, who want to use that and leverage the marketplace in order to enhance their situation, that family at the same time too. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm saying it's as far as, we're past that point, you know, we have 5 people. Well, one of the things that a candidate was talking about in a couple meetings was, you had all those, you have 100 churches, but at least I'm working with 5 churches right now. So, okay, you know what? We're in the stages of, we had 5 churches, very small churches, to go to the plan that this guy had was to start a band. And I'm like, that might be a little bit large, but when I got a text about coming to the investment, I said, well, that might be something that we could actually, you know, touch into right now.
Right.
So it just say you already have the synergy and you have the, you know, cooperation of these 5 people or 5 churches that want to move forward. We're gonna come back next week, and say, okay, well, we have those 5 people. What do we do?
But when you come back together again, you have if the core group is there,
right,
everybody's on the same accord, they buy into the same vision.
right,
This is where they want to go. It's time to go ahead and put it on paper,
right.
okay? Got to create a partnership contract with
So we're talking
guidelines
with
in
the
there,
accountant, or we talking with the lawyer?
or you can create this on your own. You get an attorney to sign off on it if you have to, but you really don't need an attorney to do it. As long as you have someone in there who understands how to put bylaws together, okay, and processes and everything, you guys have to work it out among yourselves, because after all, you're the ones going to sign the contract with each other. Okay, once you've gotten solid with that now, everyone buys off to it, buys into it, say, hey, I'm ready to go forward. Whomever the founder is, his job is to go ahead down to Harris County Development and assume name certificate for the partnership. Once they have that in hand, next thing, get an EIN number for the partnership itself and everything, so you can set up your bank account. Once you got that in hand, then come back in and say, okay, we gotta break this down, like I said, in my notes earlier, this is the structure of how the investment club should look. Now, you can create your own, but this is the one that I think that we use, okay? One will be the executive partner, this person he's a point person, okay? And there's an alternative there, in case something happens to him. Akil always went with me whenever I did a deal with him. When we met with Harris County, do certain things, etc. We met with some of our advisors at the same time. He always went with me so he could see what I was actually doing. In case I'm out of pocket or something happened to me, the club can move forward. That would be the executive partner, it'd be the treasurer, it'd be the accountant, the secretary, and the historian. And each and every member of the club can do its own research in terms of what stocks to back for the most part. But if you have that core together right now, they're on the same accord, have the same vision, the next move now, go ahead and put it on paper. That get the assumed name certificate signed in hand, get your EIN number signed in hand, get everybody to buy into the partnership agreement. Put all your stipulations in there. What you don't want to do, let me say it real loud at this time, what you don't want to do is have a person in the club who's giving you his rent money and his battery money. You don't want that. What you want is the least amount of money you can afford to do without over a long period of time. If it's only a nickel, if you can do it consistently, it can work. Our case was $25 per month. Everybody agreed on that. That became our staple bag. You could get the club off the ground. But you have people, you create the protocol by which you want to function and operate. How you gonna bring people in? How you gonna buy people out? You guys do it up front, and you all agree to it. Once you agree to it, you set the pattern in motion from that point. Establish your meeting times. We met once a month. We had people who wanted to join the club, but we had a reception for them to come in and basically tell us what they could bring to the club or what they could offer to the club. When we were at that point, they had to pay that additional amount to get to where everybody in the club actually was at the same time. For example, if we've been sponsored for more than a year, we had more than maybe $5 grand into the club per member from donations and whatever, and also from monthly contributions. A new member comes to the front door, he can't participate in the 50% share of everybody else when he ain't at the $5,000 level. So he had to come in with $5 grand himself. Okay, we take that $5 grand and turn invest it into a brokerage firm account. That's how the stocks are actually bought.
I'm glad she mentioned, are you done with your question? Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the bank part. Because I attend a lot of meetings, I do a lot of things in the community, and more often than not, if not every single time, our issues usually come back to money. We can't exist in a capitalist system with no capital.
Absolutely.
And constantly going to other people, asking for money, it gets old, and that is a limited amount that can be given out anyway. So we need our own financial institutions. Yeah. But a bank is a big step, but a credit union may not.
That's correct.
May not be. So can you tell us one more how we can, how possibly an investment club can lead to the development of a credit union, or how do you start a credit union? Because God knows you got experience in that too.
Right. The key thing basically now with credit union, they're more regulatory authority around that structure. Okay. An investment club can actually, like we did, we formed a corporation because we want to do something bigger and better. Okay, that's what we did. Investment club can actually own a credit union. Okay, all the guidelines to get it on board, you got to have the regulatory authority here too, you gotta get a charter and everything, all these things. The club can actually do, okay, to put it together. But you gotta have an audience now to support it. If you have no group yet support it, you get a problem.
Yeah.
As I said earlier now, the minimum amount required to fund the credit union is $500,000.
What?
$500,000. Now, that may sound like a whole lot of money, but it's not a whole lot of money because when you pool your money together and everything, you don't realize how much you have until you pool the actual funds together. That's what we did when we formed the corporation.
Yeah.
We pooled our funds. That's how we were to go to the bank and get our first loan was $5,000. Our second loan was $10,000, which we got. The bank offered us a $1.7 million loan without a franchise. This is what we did. We were aggressive. We wanted to get things done. We realized we can do it, and we use that leverage on to accomplish that.
And how long did it take for you guys to reach that point that you were able to do that?
It was about maybe 5 years.
So it's possible with the right group, and if our sister,
Yeah.
if what she's saying is that if she already has the right group and the right synergy, it's possible that within
Very
5
possible.
years they could be in a position to open credit union.
That is correct. That is correct.
Amen.
The key thing is that you want to emphasize ethics. You want to emphasize trust. I used to always use the phrase, there's a very, very estranged relationship between Black people and money.
And money.
And I'm serious about this, okay? It's an issue here that you have to realize money is a tool that you use to leverage to get certain things done. We make monetary decisions emotionally, which is a mistake.
Yep.
Emotions plus money equals bankruptcy. I'm gonna say it again. Emotions plus money equals bankruptcy. Don't make monetary decisions based on your emotions because you're gonna go wrong. That's not good at all. So that's why the core of the group has to be solid in terms of where everybody has to go. Everybody know what their strengths and weaknesses are. You have a person in the group itself and everything who makes the decisions on emotions and everything. He won't make no key decisions for the group. He become part of the process there through consensus. You get what I'm coming from right now?
I spoke with you via text a couple of days ago. What I'm interested in, I have 2 properties.
Mhm.
One I live in.
Oh, you the person sitting, you okay? I thought it was you.
What me?
What's your, okay, well,
And no, he said that he thought I was one to test him, but it was you.
Ask me a question. Yeah, I didn't know.
is I'm looking for, how do I leverage at the age when, my kids are gone there in Chicago, different places. So I have 2 properties. I work for a nonprofit in Acres Homes. I got tons and tons of connections with different people been working on that. I have a trusted presence in the North Houston community. And like I said, going to a couple of meetings, we went to Chris Allen's budget meeting a couple of days ago. We went to who's gonna replace District 18 with shoes that, those kind of things. So what I'm thinking and what I'm saying is, how do I take the resources I already have that would, if even if I, like you said, sell the houses or put the houses in a certain situation where I can leverage those 2 properties to get to a point where I have some cash, liquid cash to work with. That's the kind of things that I'm interested in. And so if a credit union will be a benefit, or if an investment club will be a benefit, then I'm just trying to figure out where to go with the resources that I already have. And like I said, I do have, some connections to have some other things. And like I said, we're working with 5 churches to say, okay, well, listen, we're not talking about cash right now. We're just, like you said, building up that energy and that trust factor between the individuals that will be, putting up, $1,000 or $10,000, something like that.
That's important. Okay.
So we have those things in place. And the next step to taking on something larger, like I said, an investment club with a little bit more than 20. We already ready to have some money to go So what do we do with that to translate that or to multiply that or to, you know, make that into more money? And also have a proven track record to be able to show other people, this is what we're talking about, like you said before to us. This is what we've already done, this is what we started with, this is what we've done. How do we get you guys to, I'm not, you know, come up to, we don't have to go to the banks all the time, action and bank, we could have our own money.
That's right.
And say, let's do
That's
this
right.
with the money we already have.
Be our own bank. Yeah, because we do have the resources, we just not pooling them.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other part is like, you know what, if I have my two houses worth, you know, whatever, $100,000, how do I set it up with an attorney or an accountant, whereas I'm not gonna lose because it's structured on paper for me not to lose.
Okay. The key thing is that you're gonna have to leverage that profit to get more stuff out of it.
Right.
You get more capital. Leverage basically means you don't have the credit union yet, but down the road you can get one. The investment club is quicker to set up and organize and move forward. If the core group is there working together at the same time. If the core group buys into the idea, okay, to move forward, to expand now, it's got to have to leverage what money it has on hand to buy more stuff, i.e. stock, for example. I believe in diversifying your portfolio. And in addition to that, now they making no more land. So if you got some property, you need to hang on to it. Okay, and learn to leverage that property until perpetuity. Okay, pass it down to the family if you have to, for the most part. And trust it, as you mentioned earlier. The key thing now is that the land, the property, I'm not sure what's on Section 8 or whatever the case may be, but it's generating income once a month. What are you doing with the income that is generated?
That's what I'm saying, the house doesn't make or something, the house, the rental property. I'm just using that as storage, I'm not using that other house I actually live in, but I'm just saying. I pull them together or whatever to make sure that I have X amount of dollars to move it forward.
Okay,
I don't wanna pull them together and lose, or have opportunity to lose, I'm trying to make sure that I don't lose when I do.
I don't think you don't lose. We get into investment right now.
That's fine.
It's okay.
Yes, sir.
The key thing, the house you use it for storage, you're wasting that space.
I know that's why I'm here.
Okay. The key thing is that you don't get the storage out mode out unless you rent it out for people to store stuff in there. Okay, if you got people who need a place to store stuff, hey, let's get that house moving at that point. If you don't want a renter in there, okay? If renter or storage generates income for you. But you can do other stuff with it at the same time.
I know, and you know, one of the ladies said when I came, I was sharing everything. I am looking for some liquid money to repair that house, to get it to the point of making money, or I need to understand that if I don't put that money into it, how can I get an investment group to say, okay, well, listen, let us take that property and, you know, if I'm gonna rent it out for $2,000 a month, then we could split up the,
Right.
you know, the rent. I'm just looking for ideas as to what I'm gonna do with that property,
Well, you have two assets there already. One you're living in
right?
that can be an Airbnb for you. Okay. If people come to town doing the convention and everything, they can rent space from you in in the place where you live. And you provide the breakfast and all the whole thing too. That's income for you. The house is sitting there with the storage, you're wasting the money. You wasting, or the house is deteriorating as long as it sits there, but nobody lives inside the house.
Right.
Get the storage out of there, or rent the house out for storage people who don't want to go to a storage facility for the most part. If not, invest the money, clean it up, get it ready to go. You have to leverage the house going on front end through the bank to get some more cash to fix it up and everything. I found a handed man in the neighborhood who know what he's doing, something to fix the thing up for you. Okay, then you rent it out from that point. The income rental property generates now is called cash flow. Okay. Normally, I don't want to get too technical with this thing now.
Okay.
All right. Normally now, rental property is based on market value. Okay. And also cost. Okay. The key thing, you put your cost into the house to get it fixed up and everything, rental property and everything. How do you write the cost off? On your tax return. I don't know what how much tax you're paying each and every year, I have to, pensions or whatever. The cost to renovate that house and everything is a write-off. Okay, As your income comes in the front door, when that place being rented out, then all the upkeep of the house and everything is eating up the income, therefore no tax you have to pay. The cash is in your pocket. Are you with me?
Yeah, I agree. What I'm saying is, I.
Let me see.
She's looking for concrete answers to.
Make money. I used to rent it, I used to know how, you know, I got stuff, kind of my point. What I'm saying is, how can I make $50,000 right now? Or 25, it's gonna cost some money to get the house up to a
Right.
certain standard for me to be able to make that kind of money.
Right.
I was invited to come to a meeting about, you know, she said, you know, how do you make money? So if I need to have $25,000 to get that property up, how can I leverage, well, and I don't think I can get a HELOC, a home equity loan on that rental property. But I put on the house that I live in. And that's what I'm saying, how do I make money, how can I look at collectively using resources to make some money to get $25,000 to fix that house up and I can rent it out for $2,000
All right, you're gonna have to leverage that house, okay, as a piece of rental property with the bank. That's the first thing, okay?
That's the point I was trying not to go, we don't have to keep going about my thing.
No, it's okay because what you're saying is, it's a direct connect to my next question, so I think it's good that you're asking.
Well, like I said, I don't wanna just be about my issue about my house.
Well,
But
but
I'm saying, how do you make, we go to meetings and I go, I don't, when I leave here, what am I gonna walk out the door and do today?
Let me make this suggestion, okay? I don't have you on a contract at this point, but I can issue an engagement letter to counsel you to certain things. Let's say beforehand, you get 30 minutes free, and at that point, my
Right.
fee schedule kicks in, okay? This is free, okay? What you have to do at this point, since you don't have the 25 grand in hand, you can have the 25 grand in less than 6 months if you leverage the property. Call an appraiser, get him out there. You writing this down?
Right,
Okay? Call him out here, it takes about maybe $250 to get that house appraised, okay? Get you an appraised market value, not cost, okay? That's your leverage right there. And you march down, or let me back up now, you want this to be an entity or just you individually?
sorry,
You want it to be an entity or you as an individual?
I'm trying to.
She's open.
Okay, all right. You can become an entity. Okay? Entities have a little more leverage in the marketplace when you go to the bank rather than you individually. Okay? Even though they may ask you to guarantee the loan for the most part, that's okay. When you leverage that piece of property now, you can have the 25 grand in 6 months when you get a renter in that house. Okay? All the costs you spent out with the bank's money to get the house up to speed and everything, that's a write-off for you. So the first year's rental income, you pay no taxes because it's eating up with costs to get the house off the ground. You with me?
Yes.
And you can create a sole proprietorship for yourself for the two rental property, for the rental property. Okay? And get that house appraised, market value. It has value there. Only thing the bank wants to make sure you can pay the note, which you should be able to do. In 6 months, you can have your 25 grand. You get a renter in there. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Okay.
I believe.
You have to leave.
No.
Now, on the current house, now, if you're paying if you have any withholdings at all, from pensions or whatever the case may be and everything, the current house you're in right now, do some energy improvements to it. That's a non-refundable credit in that tax return that you file. Okay? Put an energy efficient water heater in there. Do something energy wise in that house to create these credits and everything out there.
So the house I actually live in?
Yes.
Well, that house, I just shared with this lady, house that I actually live in, it's a brand new house, I just had a deal from the government, from the party money. So I have to stay in that house for 3
Okay,
years.
that's cool. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. All I'm saying,
Yeah,
if the
I
house,
can't actually do anything with that house until after, December of 2025.
okay, that's no problem at all. Okay, good. Your rental property now, we got to focus on that at this point.
That's what.
All right. So your name can become a DBA. Okay, so get that started. Takes about, I think, $37 to get a seminary ticket from Harris County. If you live in Harris County, get it off the ground, use your steps.
Okay.
Once you got the DBA in hand, go to the IRS website, look for SS4. Fill out that form, get your EIN number for your DBA.
I'm sorry, the SS4.
SS4, fill that form out online. You have the EIN number less than 30 minutes after that. And please protect that, okay?
Might be 15 minutes.
That's your entity right there. Okay, once you got your entity in place, call the appraiser out. You're gonna charge the appraiser expense to your entity. That's your structure. Your structure is so official.
Appraisals that we sort of recommend, you have any appraisals out?
I have to look around. I had contact with one a couple of years ago. It's been a while since I've dealt with it, but I can get one for you.
Right.
Okay, all right. Get the appraisal property. Get his market value there. That's your leverage right there. Long as there's something there to cover the loan, the bank will give you the money. If your credit score is pretty solid and everything, you should never probably get the money at all.
Good.
Get you a good contractor. This is important. Who know what he's doing. I had one, but he's working for the hospital over in Baytown now, so he can't do any more side work no more. But they're out there that you can do, can get the house up to speed for you and everything. Once it's up to speed, everything, then get your renter in there.
Yeah.
And some people use Section 8 money to do it. I mean, it's up to you how you do it. You get your renter in there, look at your area that you're in, see what the rental day would be out there in that area where the house is located, and you charge that rent. I'll get you a 6-month lease on it.
I'm glad she brought up the question that she brought up because we do, as a community, just like she's saying, we do have resources
Yeah.
financially. But we don't know how to use them
Right.
to make something happen.
Right.
So and again, perfect segue. So thank you for asking me and being here. My next question is what are the strategic advantages of having a credit union? And how can we find some people who have some resources so we can pool them and open that credit union? So what are strategic advantages and how do we do it?
All right. The strategic advantage with the credit union now is you get a whole expanse of people that can become part of that whole process. It takes longer to put that together.
It takes what?
It takes longer to put that
It
together.
takes longer, okay.
Yeah, and requires a huge amount of capital up front, 500 grand. Now there's some rich people in Houston that's black.
Mhm.
If you can sell them on the ID, I'm serious, okay?
Principal.
They're out there.
It might be in your network.
They're out
Hell, them 5 churches I have.
there. I will name drop now because
Yes, yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
there's some very
And that's the point.
there's some very rich black people in Houston. I'm serious, okay? I happen to know one personally, but I ain't gonna call his name because we this thing is live.
Yeah, we'll call full on. Don't call his name out.
But the key,
Who that is?
but we're gonna ask you, there's a lot of people in Houston who has money. To develop the trust in you per se, in my case, in me, because I manage a lot of accounts for people. Okay. And over the period of time, you develop that trust in me to do 100 grand transfer, this kind of stuff like that, everything, which I have them to invest in. But it takes time to build that trust in someone black without knowing what they're gonna do. And that's important. That's very important. Okay. I've been on this battlefield for over 20 years talking this stuff, about organizing, trying to find ways to leverage what we have over the long haul. The investment club was a good segue into it.
Yeah.
Okay, which we did. And that thing did a lot of stuff and everything beyond what we thought it would do down the road. My vision was it could do a lot more. I won't cuss now. I won't be like, yeah, I'm crying now. I preach a sermon today and everything, but I can't stop cussing. But the key thing is that you have to learn how to leverage this stuff and have enough confidence in yourself to get it done. This little digression. When I went to work for the Houston Post Company, I threw newspapers for them when I was in undergrad. I was in grad school. Okay. One of the guys there in main office down there at 610 and 59 liked my style. So he asked me, could I come in and be a regional manager for them? But that was not the end of it. He asked, the Post had issues of collecting all that advertising money of ads and everything being advertised like car dealerships, this kind of thing. They want to have some vehicle there they can collect the money from. So he asked me, what can I put together doing that thing to make that work? And that's what I did for them. Okay,
Did you know James Smith?
it's been a while since I
He
worked.
used to work for the Post.
Well-
Together off, he worked for, yeah.
That's correct. The Post had a thing about its employees should never be going out their paycheck. They hounded on that whole thing over and over again. When it's time to get a paycheck, the checks need to be there. One of the things I did for the Houston Post as well, through Ouidah Potter was actually passed away at that time. I had the responsibility of going to each bank in Harris County, 10 grand cashier's check to make deposits with those banks. Unity Bank was one of them as well, okay? The key thing is that it took time to build that trust in me. Get that done for them. So that's the biggest thing we have with Black folks building trust in each other, that we can have money for them. It's a strange relationship between Black people and money. It's real. It is really real. You have to each and every day reinforce the fact that you are trustworthy. I can handle this for you, and without you turning your back and it disappears for the most part. That takes time. In your case by yourself, I think you can go ahead and move forward. Once you get your rental house off the ground and everything, then you can show everybody else what you did and how you did it.
Duplicate that process, yes, ma'am.
Duplicate the process.
Yeah. Franchise them out.
Right. So sitting here listening to you now, what you have now, you have the leverage now to get it done. You just need to go ahead and do it. That's the main thing. You have to have confidence in yourself that you can walk into a bank tomorrow and ask for something and you expect it. And it's even better when you got your own bank. We used to have this thing in the investment club. There's no better feeling in the world to go to Florida, California on your own dollar.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
went out there and rented a hotel room for a whole week. Just lived it up, rented a car and the whole doggone thing. We met with investors out there on our own dollar. Nobody didn't give us anything. During a lunch break, at times, somebody, I remember said, rather than sitting and reading the sports page, they had the doggone NASDAQ looking at how to see what stock they're gonna buy at the same time. That's the kind of environment we created with this investment club. Everybody was so into making this thing work. And you can do the same thing.
Why is it important? Why is it so important that we do just that? Understand that pooling our resources create for us economic and or financial power.
That's
Why
correct.
is it so important that we
That's
do
correct. That's correct.
that? Based on, where we are in this country. Why is it so important?
It's important because the respect that we command, not demand within the community, is formed by one or two things. One, either our consumerism, okay, or our political powers. Now, politically now, we do have enough power, but your money speaks even louder for you. If we can get Black people who I know done without so long to start looking within the community to build this consumer, we can take 1/3 of the 1.7 trillion that we spend each and every year and put it in an investment club. How much more we can do down the road? And you can also bestow that investment on the community at the same time. Every year that stock creates dividends and everything for you, you can give the money away. That's the advantage right there. And once you get the idea of you owning stuff, and that you own stuff with pride, goes a long way when you carry yourself. You can walk into a room and you can part the crowd. You want to know who this person actually is, but you carry it because you've earned it. Right, to actually be there. And your power speaks to you through your investment club. Or you're in it at the same time. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. When I go to meetings, I won't make it too personal now. When I go to a meeting, either here or wherever I go and everything, I go because I have pride in what I have done and what I have accomplished. I can't whine about any damn thing as far as I'm concerned. I can go in this place right now and ask this guy 5 questions about his operation. He probably don't know a damn thing about it, but I know, I've taken the time to learn it. So you have to invest in yourself to make sure you have that skill level that you can walk into anybody's apothecary and discuss with them and tell them what they're doing. That's important. I feel that way.
I agree.
When you put the time in, you know what you're doing, there's something about that energy that you exude out there, and people gravitate to it at the same time. That's important. And I think you have it.
I have to.
Now, let me put it this way.
Sir,
You don't think you have it, you feel it.
but what I'm saying is like, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this particular, room costs some money to have to, or to lease out or whatever. When I first got it, what I'm thinking is, and from the energy and the information I got, like next Thursday, how can I bring in the problem to the people that I'm already working with? How we bring those people to the table and say, okay, listen.
Just talk to them. Talk to them. As I said earlier, it takes 6 months to develop a core group. Because the chemistry gotta be there.
She's saying she already had the group with the chemistry, right?
The Acres Historic Society, I've been in Acres working with folks for 20-30 years. My kids just graduated, my son's a CPA in Chicago, my daughter has a doctorate. I was a mother, I took care of those kind of things. Now, I'm getting ready to start doing what I need to do for myself, basically myself, my rent house and all that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, just 2-3 weeks ago, when we had the forum, this guy was talking about how we get 5, all these churches out here, how do you at least get some to say, okay, listen, at least let's look at or talk about or think about pooling your resources, so you don't have to go to the bank begging Bank of America, you don't have to go to Wells Fargo.
Yep.
Because you already have the revenue or the whatever it is, from church on Sunday, Monday morning, 5 pastors should be going to this one bank, making a deposit, kind of attitude. And then, like you said, that's a whole different feeling with you going in there making a $50,000 deposit as opposed to a $10,000 deposit, $10,000 over here. We all bid this $50,000. Listen to us, respect us. This is what we want to be able to do.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that I wanted to sort of get an idea when I talk to you to see if that's what you could help us with. Merging that to make some money and the trust and the all of those things. And plus, like I said, with my rental property, personally, running my rental property, but for me in the community of working on a larger scale, how we get those 5 churches to a consensus that this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it.
Okay, again, I'm going back to that age-old question now. There's a unusual relationship between Black people and money. You gotta become a strong advocate at this point for what you want to do. To pool those funds to get those things done. You don't have to talk, it's a lifestyle with you. You gotta start talking it. It becomes part of what you do. When you meet with these preachers and all this church and everything, they may get to a point that's how you come. That's fine, that's a good thing. I'm serious.
Yeah.
But you have to become an advocate for it.
Yeah.
You gotta live it and talk about it all the time.
Have you by chance ever brought this up to these?
Sir?
Have you by chance ever brought up this topic to these people that you're connected to? Have you got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
I think, and I don't know why on the schedule, I know he's busy, but I think that maybe over the next few weeks, we should make that a topic title for a Thursday morning breakfast. Get the people that you're connected to, get them here, and then they can just have a Q&A.
Yeah.
They can just ask Wallamu questions about whatever, because I guarantee you, if he doesn't know it, he knows somebody who does know it. So I think it starts with getting the people in the same space, in the same room, and then we just have the conversation. I guarantee you, it'll spawn from
And
there.
that's what I came today to see exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
If that would be something that I could share, with
Yeah, I think we
Sure
should.
you can.
I think we should.
Sure you can. I'll give you enough information now to go out there and get all the stuff done that you want to get done. You can have your 25 grand in 6 months, but it depends on what you lease the house out for. It'll be there. But don't just stop there.
Yeah.
You gotta grow your 25 grand. Don't go to Acapulco tomorrow and say, oh, try to make sure you can make.
Don't be going to Galveston either.
make that money grow.
Yeah.
Make that money grow. Because the thing the banks are designed to provide service for you. I used to always use this phrase in my small business workshops. The bank failed to provide service for you, that's your fee to go to. Did you get that? I mean that. And there's ways you can complain to a bank when something ain't going right for you. And most people don't know how to do it. And I can share the information with you too, but I won't do it right now, but I'll share it with you as well. You can make a bank say yes when they want to say no.
Okay, my last question.
Okay.
Does anybody else have a question before I ask that question? My last question while I move is can you tell us, as it relates to investment clubs and credit unions, I think financially those are probably the lowest hanging fruit that relates to organizing our money.
Right.
Can you tell us and then wrap it up as to why it is imperative that we find a way to create our own investment clubs for the purpose of creating our own credit unions if we really want to be empowered and free? Why is that an absolute imperative move that we must make as a community, as a collective?
Right. The key thing, primarily, you have to sell the idea of leverage.
Hmm.
The problem we have, as I said earlier, to my overcoming the effects of our history.
Yes.
That's a huge hurdle for us. When you talk, you look all the groups that are out there having all of the Afrocentric parties and the whole thing. I did it one time there at Black Market. I went to each vendor and asked them, do they have limited sales tax permit?
Do they have what?
A limited sales tax permit.
A limited sales tax permit.
And none of them had it.
Did anybody know what it was?
Nobody know what it was.
Because I'm in that group. I don't know what it is.
The key thing is that you have to become an advocate of this, okay? And you have to prove to Black people through example with visual learners that this works because I have done it. Let them see what you actually done. When you do your rental property thing, go through that process and everything, get that done, and come back and show what you've actually done.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk to 25 people before you get one to agree with you. As I said beforehand, the relationship between money and Black people is very strange. You can talk to 50 Black people, and you may get 2. They don't understand where you're going with this whole thing. That's just the nature of the game. But there are a lot of Black people out there who have money and can do a lot of things with you. The problem is trust. Trust.
And we've been conditioned not to trust each other.
Absolutely.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Okay, any closing comments while I'm here?
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for finally accepting. Because God knows you're busy.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for an opportunity. When I do an investment close spiel now, whenever you're out there in the market somewhere around, look for an opportunity that you can invest in. That's how we grew so fast.
Yeah, and in our community, there's a bunch of them. That's why other people show up in our communities because and to invest where we live because we're not investing in where we live.
That is correct.
Yeah, but we don't understand that they're only there to invest where we live because they know we have their money to give, and we do, which is why millions flow through every predominantly Black space in this country. Millions flow through because we haven't figured out how to stop it and keep some of it for ourselves.
And that's why you have to become an advocate there. One last thing, I have she's a friend of the family at this point. She lives in New Orleans and everything. And they were complaining about the Vietnamese convenience store in the community where they live, the apartment complex.
Come on.
I said, what the hell are you complaining about?
Don't shop.
Y'all can own the damn store.
That's right. And you should already own the store.
Only you can run the thing. The problem, nobody want to run the damn store. The problem is right now, you don't complain when you have the ability to take it over yourself.
That's right.
That's important.
That's right. Amen.
Because those folks ain't any more brilliant than you are. Barack Obama said a lot of them are stupid out there too, okay? We have proven as a race how productive we really are. We put our hands on something, we take it over. You know it.
Yeah.
But the point, can you realize the fact what you can actually do? That's the whole thing. We got to get you to that point, and God is going to take a lot.
Yeah. Amen.
I'll go to my grave still kicking and screaming. I'm not going to give up that at this point, for the concern. I love each and one of you. Thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you. All right. So as you can say that, I'm wrap this thing real quick. So as I always say, everything we need we already got more proof. This brother has served on I don't know how many boards with credit unions, understands how to start them, how to run them, how to manage them. He's still alive, he's still kicking, and he got the knowledge. But he's not the only one. We've met several people in our communities that got knowledge and information about whatever. If we can find a way to connect these gems that we already have, really, there's nothing we can't do because we already got it. Because we do it for other people, and we've been conditioned and trained to do it for other people. Our children go to college to get degrees, to get jobs, to help other people make multiple millions.
Absolutely.
We got to flip that and find a way to bring them back home to our community so they can do that for the community and still get paid.
Absolutely.
And if we know the economic resources, like she said, 5 churches, not only is that a lot of capital, that's a lot of intellectual capital in that church. I guarantee you there are some professionals in that church. But we have yet to aggressively focus on organizing the spaces where we live. And because we don't have that laser-like focus, we lose. And we lose because other people know we ain't gonna do it. So they come to our spaces to do what we really should be doing for ourselves, which again is why we keep losing. So the last 2 things is we launched our digital magazine, the Grow for Care Alliance, Grow for Care Digital, the Grow for Care Alliance. This is our 13th issue. We come out every Tuesday. So 13 weeks ago, we launched this thing. And it is about highlighting the speaker that's here. I think I'm going to work with you as much as you're willing to work with me to have a Thursday morning breakfast be around what you want to do, because I guarantee you other people have the same idea because it's out there, but they don't know what to do with it. And for people who don't have the idea, you can give them that idea. And I think what Willie said, which was so important, document what you do so you can become an expert in it, then an advocate, and you can show other people how to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's the power that we have right now that we don't utilize.
Right. Let me tell you one more story before we go. This is important. The Houston Post had a credit union. And one of the issues I had with them, everybody who's fighting the company had trailer houses in Baytown. Okay? One guy had a $10,000 CD there, okay? He can marry more authority in the whole thing too. The problem was they were not giving any loans to the black people over there, cars or anything.
Wow.
So what Alfred and I did, the credit unions are actually member driven now, okay? They're nonprofit. Alfred and I went to the next membership meeting the first week after we got our money and everything put in as well. And they have nominations from the floor, some part of the board. So I first got on the first board, okay? Alfred went in and got up and nominated me. I got up and nominated him. We both lost that year. So we went back the second year, did the same thing. We lost the second year. We went back the third year, and guess what? The chairman of the board wanted to talk to us. You know why we want to become part of the board members. So I told him why. Because you didn't have enough instruments out there that serve the black community. You're coming in for loans and for trailers and toss the whole thing too, you don't get them. Why is that possible? So at the third year, I was on the certificate to go as a member of the board, and I won. That's how I did on the first board. And I served on 3 additional boards after that, including the Shell Federal Credit Union board as well. Okay. The point is, you got to step out there. If you see a problem that's there, see how people are hurting, do something about it, and don't be afraid to do it. So that's what we did. I got on that board the first time, and it didn't end there. But once you get on the board, you got to be productive. And I was bringing stuff to them right and left. The key thing is that stepping out there and getting it done. Don't be afraid to do it. And I think you have that quality.
No doubt. And I want you to know that I'm willing to do whatever I can do to help you organize it, because except that because I don't have it. You got more access to capital than I do. But you know, I think, sister, if not our greatest issue, one of our greatest issues, and Wallen said it several times here as it relates to our relationship with money, we get steamrolled because we're not mobilized and we're not organized. If we were organized as a community, half the things that are killing us wouldn't kill us because we'd be organized to stop it. I launched this digital magazine and it comes out every week because there's so much that's coming at us because I'm trying to organize us. And Walamu just said that you know we have things that are really not working for our benefit that really are threats. The cover of this week's issue is not last week's speaker. She'll be on the following week, and the Walamu will be after her because we have an active threat in the community, a proven sexual predator that we got to get out of the community. So this cover is about protecting our children from sexual exploitation in public schools because it's a threat now. But that doesn't mean that we're not also being threatened with financial issues because we are, because other people run our communities with the economics and the finance because we don't have that good relationship with money, but we're not organized to have that. But if we got gyms in the community that have done it for other people, proven track, and he keeps saying, I talk about what I've done, not what other people have done, but he ain't the only one. So the idea with this Thursday morning breakfast and with the Growth for Care Alliance and with the digital magazine and everything else that we do, it's about tapping into the resources that we already. I got to schedule a Zoom call with these two Black people right now because they have, between the two of them, well over 35, 40 years of community activist work. I got to understand what they do so that I can do it better. And I talk to them at least once a week. So when I say everything we need, we already have, that's the truth.
That is true.
But it's also true that we lose out because we're not connected, we're not organized. Somebody's trying to reach you. And we got to change that. So if we don't change that, then the change don't happen. So I'm glad that you're having the problems that you're having. I love that because I am getting from you that you're not one to just constantly talk about the problem. What I got from you this morning is that you're action oriented because you was like, just give me the answer what I need to do. I think that's awesome because that's how we need to be, you know, but we need more people like that and people who know what they're doing, who are willing to teach, lead, and guide, and people like myself who are willing to help you mobilize and organize. Because I know that we have a lot of churches. Some will, some won't. So what? We want the ones that will. And if we can get 5% of our churches to do something, we could change how the community looks and how it functions. And then we don't have to deal with sexual predators because we'll be able to stop them at the borders of the community because we're organized and we're mobilized to do so. And our lack of organization keeps us from being successful, which is why we keep losing. We got what we need. The creator gave it to us. We're just not using it. Right. So lastly, tomorrow we're having a press conference about this issue. If you are available, we're going to have a press conference right across the street from Worthing High School because that's where this thing happened. And we're going to lay this thing out. We're going to lay out what HISD should have done, what they did not do, what we need them to do. What the city of Houston, I went to speak to the city of Houston this past Tuesday. Sad the level of seeming indifference among the council members that was there was sad, but I get it. We Black people, who cares? So I'm going to address that. I'm going to address the community's lack of organization that allows this kind of thing to happen because I am completely blown away at how many people knew about this dude's activity. But when it comes to our communities and our children and our spaces, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to deal with it. We want to look the other way.
Don't want to get involved.
And don't want to get involved. And that's how our children continue to be preyed upon. And if that's going to stop, like everything else we do, it has to stop with us, which means it has to start with us. So if anybody's available here or online, we're going to have this right across the street from Worthing High School. The address is, where's that address? Right across from Worthing. It is 9215 Scotland. We're going to the other entrance.
Right.
Yeah, so we're right across the street because it's a strip center right in front of the school. So we want the school to be in the background.
Okay.
9 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And this is one of many things that we absolutely must do as a community. When people tell me we got to do, Brother Shaka he's very much into growing our own food. He's a part of helping us create our own local food system. Very knowledgeable. He was a speaker at one of our breakfasts a few weeks ago. Very knowledgeable young brother when it comes to growing food. When people tell me we gotta do agriculture first. No, we gotta do economics first. No, we gotta do organization first. No, we gotta do spirituality. No, we gotta do security. Everybody's wrong. Because we don't have the luxury of doing one thing at a time. We gotta do this stuff simultaneously. But you cannot do that without subject matter experts. But when the creator sends us what we need, we gotta utilize the gift, otherwise you lose the blessing. And we gotta keep that in mind if we wanna eventually be empowered and free. Okay, so on that note, Wale, thank you again for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next Thursday. Y'all have a good one. Thank you, thank you.
Okay?